When I went through uni, I had quite a tough time at uni. I was very anxious, lost a lot of weight, didn't really eat right. My lunch would be, and I think I did this for many weeks, I would have, and I remember, a Bombay Bad Boy pot noodle and a bag of Worcester sauce crisps. And there were some times where I just couldn't be arsed to eat, because my wife said comments, she was like, "You just send him pictures of your arse?" And I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "So he's got pictures of your arse on his phone?" I know now at the minute, like, I'm the leanest I've ever been. But also with that, I think bodybuilders, a lot of them have body dysmorphia to some degree anyway. When you're in this level of prep, it goes completely off the charts. Like, it came about because one of the kids like knocked on my room and went, "Oh, I saw you on TikTok, sir." And I was like, "Well, you didn't, because I'm not on TikTok." And he was like, "It's definitely you." And that spread around the school like wildfire.
Wow.
Did that.
I feel like that gave you a bit of respect with the kids.
A little bit, yeah. It's, to be honest,
I thought you were a bit cooler.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, obviously, I was ridiculously cool anyway, but like...
I'll ask you, what's been your biggest learning curve? So, I mean, let's fucking... Myo Matt, welcome to the Learning Curve podcast. Let's do that.
Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah. I mean, me and you obviously met through Wolf Supps.
Yes.
Didn't we?
I think we did.
Somewhere along the line.
I think it may have been the very first gym review we did together.
Yeah.
It was Ultraflex Leeds, wasn't it? There was the dream team.
Yes.
Me, you, Wolfie, Jord.
I
think that was the first time we met officially.
Probably, yeah.
Like, I knew about you obviously from the shop, and also Ryan.
My brother. For anybody watching.
So I knew you kind of existed for from that, and Mizzy as well, obviously. But obviously not really to talk to or interact with. And then obviously on that one, then that's when we sort of met and trained together, and that's when this little seed of friendship was exactly conceived. Exactly. And then grown from there on it.
And obviously you hosted the Wolf Supps podcast with Tom for quite a while now. Well, quite a while it was.
It was a little bit, wasn't it? Because you'd gone. Because you did the very first ones.
I did the very first few.
You went to go and find yourself in Australia.
Then, I went and grew my hair and fucking get drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
5 times a week.
Perfect.
Across the other side of the world.
I'm waiting to see the downside.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
But yeah, you obviously...
like, filled in.
I wouldn't even say filled in, because it didn't necessarily feel like it was just my spot. Do you get what I mean? It was just kind of like I was there.
Yeah,
Like, me and Tom just had this sort of unspoken kind of mutual agreement that it was like, you know, we were kind of just doing the podcasts as and when they came round.
Yeah.
But I feel like you took that, you really embraced that.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Really enjoyed it. Because Wolfie asked me, he was like, "Oh, do you fancy being co-host on this podcast?" And I was just like, not done any podcasts before, but yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it. Why and not? Then, because my only podcast that I'd ever even listened to at that point was the Ricky Gervais Show podcasts,
right?
And I absolutely loved them, and I listened to them.
That was like, when you talk about podcasts,
that was like, the podcast.
That was like ahead of its time, really.
It was. I mean, certainly if you ask Ricky Gervais, like, he says that was the first one, but it kind of was. Kind of, really.
Yeah. I forget the guy's name in America. I want to say his name's like. I feel like he's got a name. Like,
he's got a name.
I feel like it's Adam Smith or something, but I know that's like he's like one of the fathers of modern economics. So it's just like,
right.
I feel like it's one of those names that's like a generic, like,
right. Yeah,
Adam
just
Smith,
just like something. Poor Adam.
He claims that he had like the first podcast,
right,
in probably the format that people kind of associate it with nowadays. But I think when you think to that Ricky Gervais show,
that was certainly the biggest, even if not the first, it was the biggest.
Just the way that even all the clips that come off the back of it with like the animation and
with the HBO stuff afterwards,
where they've got like the stupid like animated version of Carl where he's just got
that came miles after, didn't it? Yeah.
But the fact that it was just a cultural kind of,
because it started obviously, like, I don't want to spend forever on this, but like they started on the XFM show, didn't they, like a radio show, and then it kind of went from that. They basically were doing what they were doing just as a radio show. Carl was the producer, and then ended up making like a podcast from it and stuff, and then eventually down the line it went to the animated thing on HBO and whatever. But that were my first and only really podcast that I'd listened to over and over again. So I knew what it was.
So to say that you held yourself well on those.
Oh, it's very kind of you to say.
Honestly though, like, you know, being in this position, hosting and doing it, I feel like you do come to appreciate it when you listen to a podcast and somebody, and I'm not just saying that from my own perspective either. I've had multiple people say it to me within my circle about you when they've listened to you on podcasts, saying like, cool. Matt asks good questions and this and that sort of thing. So.
I mean, to be honest, I think that's probably just luck, really, because I'm quite naturally curious about things anyway. So I guess
that's what you need though to be good at podcasting.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like because when we had different people on that had different things to bring to the table. I always just wanted to know stuff.
And you had a genuine interest in.
But because obviously they were all roughly within the sphere of fitness.
Yeah.
I always had questions that I really wanted to ask or know about, and a lot of stuff on the fly, and it's just, like my brain sort of ping pongs around a lot of different ideas. I think that the talking thing comes from teaching.
Yeah.
Because it's like
you mean being able to hold your own and express your own sort of point?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Whilst there's people listening and watching and waiting to hear what you have to say.
Sort of that confidence really is like, because you have to, certainly in the initial part of teaching, you have to kind of fake it a little bit because obviously it's super daunting.
Yeah.
But then obviously you get used to it, and it's actually it comes quite helpful in a lot of different ways. Because when I did like the speech at my wedding. As obviously the groom, and to be honest, as long as you don't go say anything outrageous, you're going to be fine as the groom. It's your day. Like, obviously second to the bride, but do you know what I mean? It's like, unless you make some ridiculously rude joke, or like, you know,
or you get outed for cheating on your missus.
Yeah, exactly. Because even if it's
people are going to clap regardless.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it's like a bad speech, like as in you're just reading things or whatever,
or if you get really nervous, or if you have a breakdown, still just
exactly, and it's fine. And I was quite fortunate because obviously you're basically presenting and speaking all the time as a teacher. That's what you're doing, and you have to learn things because obviously you've got to present it in a confident way. And even if you kind of understand something, there's a physicist called Richard Feynman that he basically used to say, like, if you can't explain a concept to someone simply, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
And I really took that to heart. So I was like thinking, right, how can I break this down? You know, and so I used to practice then what I would say. I'd actually run through the lesson, particularly in the early days. I'd be like, I'd literally say it out loud and practice it, like whilst I was trying to do that and get better. And I think in the background that makes you like a better speaker. And when it came to like doing the wedding speech, I was like, because I didn't use any cards or anything.
Just did it off the top of the dome.
Just did it with like, thought roughly about the path, again, like a lesson, the path that you want to take through the speech.
The avenues
you want to go down. And you just join the dots. Yeah. And then when we went, so I did a speech at my brother's wedding as well. It was last year. And part of that was I was terrified of losing the speech because it was abroad, I should say. So I'm thinking it could get lost on the plane, it could get lost on the bus, you could forget it. We had Hallie with us, so I'm thinking, you know, I've got to be watching her, and if I forget the speech...
You mean like an actual printout handed?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Could you not... Surely there was...
I could have given it to someone, but in my head I thought, well, there's no need. Like, I knew what I wanted.
I'm thinking modern technology, like, surely you could have
on phone, yeah, could have done.
Or you could have just... I don't know.
But then I just feel like if you're giving a speech, I think there's two parts to this.
I'm not saying it would have been a good thing to read from your phone. I think definitely reading from paper is better.
Yeah.
But I mean more so like the irrational fear of losing the piece of paper.
When
you could have probably just gone and got it printed out.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, if you say to a wedding planner as well, you know, can you just print this off and bring it to the venue? They're gonna go, yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
But it's also, I think there's two parts to it. One of them is like, I feel like if particularly nowadays on a phone, if you're at the front of loads of people and you're like, so anyway, walking. Oh no, there was no wrong paragraph.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's a bit
you
like
don't want to do that.
and I feel like because I want my brother's best man, but it was kind of like almost like that. That was obviously he gave a speech. Nikki's dad gave a speech, Nikki being his wife.
Yeah.
And then there was me. So it was kind of like I wasn't the best man. It was almost like the best man role of the speech in a way.
Okay.
Or certainly that was the only open conventional.
Did the best man
thing.
not do a speech then?
No, he didn't. We were gonna both do one, and then I think he was just he's not. That's not his wheelhouse. He's good at a lot of things, but he's just speaking's not one of them, which is fine. You know, we're all good at different things.
He can organise a stag do, but he can't really.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm organising a stag do. I will be absolutely shit at. So it was a brilliant trade-off.
You got the best of both worlds.
Exactly. But again, just sort of thought about the bits I wanted to talk about, broke it down into bullet points, connected the avenues, and then obviously I went but I also think the other side of it is it looks a bit more impressive. There is a little bit of that.
Doing it off the top of your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
But I also think it gives that air of this person cares more. Yeah. Maybe that's a bit misguided, but I think they've gone to the effort to make sure, the effort and the confidence to make sure that they've done this. Because obviously, if you've got no notes and it goes south, you are stuffed.
But what I was going to say then, you could kind of look at that two ways. So, like, having no piece of paper and just doing it off the top of your head, yeah, it looks like you care more, but that's only if it goes well. Because if you're doing that with no note, like you say, with no notes, and then you're doing it off the top and it goes tits up, then you look like you haven't prepared anything, and then people
you just rocked up.
It's just rocked up.
I think the other advantage of doing it in that way, one, because the way I didn't rehearse exactly what I was going to say, and I kind of had focal points, and you roughly wanted to talk about, and thought, I could link it through that or whatever. One, it's a more natural speech, which is good, but I think also then it gives you that. If you do go wrong or make a mistake, no one knows, because it's like it wasn't like completely cast iron. You go from this to this to this to this to this, and if you miss something, it don't make sense.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So then, if you forget a story, or you think, or you swap them round, or you've got that kind of ad lib, part with it.
Yeah, you can go off cuff,
and it's fine.
Yeah.
And also, if you're feeling into it, you can embellish on purpose and all sorts of stuff.
It is risky, though, I suppose.
Yeah,
like
it is.
If
it's high risk, high reward, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
if it comes off, which I hope it did. Sorry, Ben, if it didn't. But I hope it did come off well, and then people go, yeah, that was nice, and people come up and say nice things, and I like to think that if it was crap, that had just said nothing, or said something like, that's it's brave getting up there giving a speech. Do you know, that's like kind of a half compliment.
Yeah, it's like a compliment sandwich.
Or just one that's like I don't know, like if you go to a music concert and the person's crap, you go, the lighting was amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're picking a compliment, and they go, cheers.
In the room,
when you'd finished, everyone. You stopped everyone in the tracks. Do you know what I mean? So people were saying, that was a really good speech, and seemed genuine. So you've just got to trust their opinion, I guess.
I mean, speaking of having some sort of direction and avenues you want to go down within a pre-planned speech, if you like.
Yeah.
Obviously, this isn't a speech; it's a podcast. But obviously, like we were talking about right at the start, few things I kind of want to touch on. Obviously, this is the Learning Curve podcast. I want to touch on your sort of learning curve through life to get to where you are today, and particularly the last.
I'm old, don't forget. We could be here a while.
You are how old?
33 now.
33.
Knocking on a bit.
Yeah. You probably see the grey hairs on the camera.
Maybe. You can edit them out, right? You can edit them out.
Yeah, we can put some
It's like a Berlusconi black hair dye.
But yeah, obviously, particularly the last, let's call it prep era of your life. You have got 2 weeks as of yesterday, like you said, until you're going on stage.
Yeah.
Competing in what?
FitX. So it's the FitX Federation Dudley.
Okay.
And it's classic physique.
Okay.
So initially when I went in with this, in my head I had men's physique, because I'm thinking,
let's break that down. So
even
me, right? Even me, I say that like I should fucking understand this, but there's not much really evidence to prove that I should understand this. Other than the fact that obviously I'm integrated in the like say fitness industry, whatever.
Yeah.
Define that difference then from men's physique to classic.
So Well, there's quite a few different categories if you want, like in terms of actual bodybuilding, and I'll be honest, like the women's ones really confuse me because I'm not that interested in them, just from what I like to watch.
Yeah.
So
fair enough.
Which I'm sure that I'll get some jokes out there that I just prefer to watch men in shiny pants, but that's fine. But yeah, so men's physique is like his board shorts. Yeah, exactly. Men's physique is board shorts. So like Ryan Terry's the current.
Yeah, like just above the knee.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe. Yeah. Well, yeah. The
a little bit of quad showing on there.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of variance in the length that you're allowed. But yeah, Ryan Terry's current champ. And
he's is he 2-3 years in a row now? He's gone back to back.
He's done back to back. He's going for the 3P. He's calling this his legacy prep.
Right.
So because 3 times puts him on par with Brandon Hendrickson, who's a 3-time Olympia, which is obviously one of the best. And then obviously Jeremy Buendia has got 4 times, who is like in some people's eyes is regarded as the GOAT of that. He kind of transformed that because he had a ridiculously like wide shoulder, tiny waist, like that ratio, the V taper he took to an extraordinary length in his prime. And I think he's actually competing again.
Sort of like he sort of redefined the category, let's say.
Yeah, he was a bit, because you get people like that get people like that come along, and like for example, Arnie was the first, I guess, that brought bodybuilding into the kind of main fray. Like that's open bodybuilding, I guess. And then you get people along the line that have a big impact. So obviously, like Ronnie Coleman,
the mass monster.
The mass monster generation. But like when Ronnie Coleman came along, obviously he won 8 times, didn't he? And it was him and Jay were kind of. It became like the Ronnie and Jay show. It was who's going to win. Can Jay knock him off top spot? So you do get these big names that kind of then transform the sport in a little way. And obviously, Dorian Yates was another one to be so big but so conditioned at the same time. Like you do have these defining things, and then in like the modern day, it's quite cool actually because Samson, who's the current champ. He's huge. Yeah, he's massive. And but also like he's got a nice shape, and then you've also got people within the open category that like Nick Walker, for example, his nickname's the Mutant. And he you can see why he's got that nickname. It's just muscle on muscle on muscle. It's massive.
I think anybody who's listening can probably tell that you are passionate about this sport.
Oh yeah, well I've always
for as long as I've known you. You have been. And you've probably been one of the most consistent people that I've known, certainly in the time frame that I've known you. Like, just for being consistent with your training, your diet, discipline, all that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
where does that come from? Do you think within you?
The discipline side, or do you mean?
Let's say where did the passion for that in particular bodybuilding, where did that come from?
Well, I guess we could probably go back to like why and when I started and all these kind of things. I don't know if that'd be helpful.
That's what I want to know.
That's what I want to know. Give me the goods. Most people go to the gym for, it's normally like a handful of reasons. It's either I'm quite overweight and I want to get in shape, or I'm
health reasons.
Health reasons. I'm being bullied, and I want to get some muscle, so I'm a bit stronger and whatever, or and any of these kind of things, feel better about themselves is usually why people go in. So I was like, when I went through uni, I had quite a tough time at uni. I was very anxious, lost a lot of weight, didn't really eat right at all. I didn't really understand the value of nutrition. Like genuinely, I would have my lunch would be, and I think I did this for many weeks. I would have, and I remember, a Bombay Bad Boy pot noodle and a bag of Worcester sauce crisps. That was my lunch for however long. And then like tea would be, it would just be any old shit. Like it'd be, like I might have
microwave.
Maybe a dolmio, like maybe a pasta like with a dolmio stirring and a garlic bread Do you know what I mean? No, I mean
no nutrition.
Not
value,
really,
like,
not at all. Certainly
besides purely refined kind of
it was just anything that you
and
could get out of the freezer and sling in the oven
with
and
little to no effort or thought to go into
absolute bare minimum. And there were some times where I just couldn't be asked to eat. I was just like, oh, I've got to make myself something. I'm just not going to bother.
I'd rather go hungry.
Yeah, but my appetite was quite low anyway, and then pile the anxiety on top. So, and I've got a picture somewhere which
you've got that vicious cycle going then as well. I suppose,
yeah, exactly. And I've got a picture somewhere on my phone. I'm going to post it on the gram, which I do need to get better at posting on, by the way. But
is this for your transformation?
Yeah, because it's pretty much 12 years since I started training.
Okay, yeah.
So, but basically, so my trigger was I left uni, or was at the end of uni, and I was 8 stone 4, which
for people in digital terms.
Oh God,
7.
I don't even know.
It's like 7 kilos to a stone.
Is that what it is?
Give or take, yeah.
Roughly. So call it 56, 57 kilos, something like that. Pretty. Yeah.
Nothing really. And you've always you were about what, 6 foot?
I think I'm like a smidge under. I think I'm 182 centimeters. I don't know whether because we had this discussion, didn't we? Because I thought I was 6 foot, and I think at one point I
wasn't trying to trap you into saying
no. But I think it is what it is.
It's a bit of an inside.
Yeah. Well, this starts.
I respect the fact that you are noble enough to not try and claim.
Yeah,
exactly 6 foot.
Yeah,
on the money. 5'11" and a half, let's say.
Yeah, something like that. It's in the ballpark. Yeah. But I honestly think at one point I was, and I wonder if it's just maybe like squatting and stuff that's just shrunk me slightly. Because
like
I think I'm about
compressed your spine a little bit.
I think I'm like 0.8 centimeters off.
Yeah.
So maybe it's that. Maybe it's advanced age.
Could be. Yeah,
who knows?
Could be lost over time.
Even
with a little stoop on the neck.
Yeah, exactly. Stand up straight. But again, obviously, it really doesn't matter at all. But like, yeah. But that's roughly what I am. But so
you were 56 kilos around. Well, pretty much the same height you are now.
Yeah,
and obviously, like now you are a lot lighter than you have been because you have been cutting for so long.
Oh yeah, well
even now, like you're what?
I'm about 77 kilos, somewhere in that sort of region.
Body fat percentage, you way sub 10 now, surely.
Yeah,
like probably 7, 6.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely sub 10. I'm probably sub 8 as well because I've started to get like striations appearing on like the glutes a little bit. So usually like quite low. If
this is kind of crazy. This is the crazy fucking weird world that I'm living in now. Is Dambo told me that the other day.
Did he actually?
We were talking about your ass like when you were
Fair enough.
around.
Yeah.
He's like, I was asking him about you. I think I told him that you were coming on the podcast. And
right.
He's like, oh mate, he's fucking his ass is coming in now.
The thing is, it's like in the bodybuilding world, it's a complete that's the same as saying, yeah, I got a new PR on bench.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to the outside perspective, and it's quite funny because my wife said comments. She's just like, "Do you just send him pictures of your ass?" And I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "So he's got pictures of your ass on his phone?" Yeah. I was like, "If it makes you feel any better, there's 50 other guys' asses on there." You've seen it all before. Yeah, exactly. They'll all end up on OnlyFans.
People are thinking about all the pictures of men's asses that Dan's got.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'll be getting raided. Sorry, Dan.
Oh god.
But yeah, anyway, so like, dialing back. Obviously, I was 8 stone 4, whatever that is in kilos, but I'm just under 6 foot tall. And then
anxious at uni.
Yeah, exactly. And
what was you sort of? How did you get to that point? Before we move past it, like how do you think you ended up in that situation?
Do you mean anxious and stressed?
Let's say, just like being in that situation of obviously you hadn't gone through that period of education with when it comes to like your fitness and like your nutrition and stuff. Up until a certain point, like were there not people around you saying like, "Oh, you need to"? Eat
plenty of people. Like
yeah.
Like,
but why didn't you?
I mean, part of it was because one of the main people was my mum, like, which is, and when you're at that age, obviously you don't really listen to your parents. I remember she always used to say, like, you don't eat enough to keep a fly alive. That was her thing, and you're wasting away and all this. And I was anemic in college as well, just purely from just sheer lack of nutrition and running on empty like all the time. And
what does that actually mean when you're anemic?
Like iron deficiency, So you just feel tired, out of breath, and
pale.
It, like practically see-through. And it were, so for me, the turning point when people have their moment, there were a couple of them. The reason I was so stressed and anxious through uni was essentially, without getting the little violin out, so when my mum and dad split up, obviously that's a tough time for anyone anyway, but the reason it hit me so hard is because I never noticed anything was wrong. And then it got me thinking, what am I missing? What do I just let pass me by on a daily basis that I just don't pick up? Because then when I started thinking about it, there was a shed load of signs there of things being wrong and whatever, and it all just passed me by.
Like the veil was lifted.
And then it got me thinking about everything and anything. So everything it then turned from like being completely away with the fairies to then overanalyzing everything. And then that's kind of where the anxiety and everything sort of bled through. But when I was so you spent a lot of time at my wife's house then, and they had like an old school recliner sofa. So you pull the lever and like the legs bit come up. I think I've probably bored you with this story before.
I can't remember how it goes, but I'm smiling.
But I couldn't shut the recliner whilst on the sofa. That's how weak I was. I couldn't leg curl that shut. I had to get off and like stamp on it, and it nearly catapulted me across the room. And it wasn't like a Looney Tunes-esque one that would fire you in Wile E. Coyote into a mountain or something. It was just a normal one.
Normal one that you'd sit there and just kind of stand up and
I was just like
back into place.
I was like, this isn't right. Like this isn't right. I need to do something about this. And it was literally, so that was the morning. So I'd stayed over the night before. That was the morning that I went to go and hand my dissertation at uni. And I literally, at that exact moment, when I'm going to sort this, and drove to uni, handed my dissertation in, drove back to my house, which I used to live in Horbury.
Where did you go to uni?
Leeds.
Okay, all right.
And then I drove back home, put on some gym gear, went to the gym and spoke to Scott at Muscle World.
Wow.
And just said, I want to join the gym. I want to like learn to train. I want to sort this. And he was very, very nice about it. And, and he took me around and just showed me the machines and whatever. And,
Scott being the owner of the local gym in
he owned Muscle World at the time, and he was really nice to me, and I've always been really grateful to him for that. And he kind of showed me around all the machines, and whatever, and he said, come back and I'll run you through a session tomorrow. So I was like,
took you under his
I was like, okay. So I just kind of went through a few things that he'd showed me, like just on the machines, and then went home and whatever. I got my protein drink, obviously, on the way out.
Of course.
Because that's where the gains are made. You've only got like 10 minutes, otherwise you lose all your gains.
Absolutely.
And then, came back the next day, and he pushed me through a session, and I remember Paul Dickinson was in the gym as well at the same time, and Paul like took one look at me. And he went, and Scott had put this weight on the incline Smith machine, and he'd literally put 10 kilos either side on the Smith machine. And Paul went, you can't put that on for him, you'll kill him. And Scott went, no, it'll be all right for a bit. And I literally unracked it, and it nearly chopped my head off. Like, I was so unbelievably weak. So he put 5s on, and I could just about move them on a flat Smith machine. And I think Scott was then realising
the extent
this is really bad.
So
we had it with like, essentially we did a drop set where we did a couple of reps on that with assisted. We then took the 5s off either side, and I think I did maybe like 10 or 15 reps, and then I couldn't move my arms anymore. I was trapped under an empty Smith machine bar.
Wow.
Which is just insane when you think about it. Because I mean, it's like 2.5 kilos or something. The way they practically take themselves up on like a windy day. So it's it was absolute madness. But I just stuck at it, and I remember what I used to do. I used to do my session. Scott showed me kind of what to do on all the different bits, so I just went and did my session, got a protein drink from the fridge, drunk it on the way home, went home, and then I literally would have scrambled egg on toast for my tea, because I'd heard that was a good protein bodybuilding meal.
As we talk about,
yeah, exactly.
You were right.
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't far off, was it? Like, in terms of things. And then, but I didn't change anything else other than that to start with, and that's all I did. And I remember
found you a little groove, and you kind of
and I just kept doing it. Just kept doing it, and I was, a week in, felt like I'd been run over, like everyone does when they start training, and then probably about 3 months in, I started noticing that I was just looking ever so slightly different. Now, obviously, I was still like really small.
Yeah.
But I remember when, it's funny how your mind and your goalposts change. But me and Jen we actually went on holiday. We went on a cruise because we're 90, obviously. But they are amazing because you get to see lots of different places.
Yeah.
And we used to brim our days. So we go to like, what it might be Naples or whatever.
Yeah.
We did like Pompeii in the morning, Herculaneum in the afternoon, got something to eat, went home, stayed on the ship, went to sleep, woke up in Croatia, and then went and did, went around the old town, all this kind of stuff. So although it's kind of pitched for people that are like nearly dead, it's actually good.
Quite an efficient way.
I've never
really thought about it, to be honest.
Because as long as you brim your days with stuff.
My parents have sort of painted this picture in my head of it just being like the worst, least creative way of going on holiday.
It can be
when you put it like that, it's kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because for us, we got to see loads of different, just like little snippets. So we went to like I said, Naples. We went to like Venice, to Corfu, to Croatia, to Montenegro, and just saw we completely brimmed. So we're off the ship like really early.
Yeah,
went around, did like a full day doing all sorts of stuff. Sometimes 2 days if it was an overnight.
Yeah,
and then would come back, have the evening meal on the ship, which was really nice, and then. Or sometimes
like
out
a
there,
different holiday the next day,
and then you wake up,
place.
and it was really cool, and some of the best things we saw, like I remember one evening we went for food and we were sat, and it was like we were sat opposite each other, myself and Jen, and it was our first kind of big proper holiday that we'd been on, and as we were eating, there were dolphins jumping past the window, and the thing which almost sounds like film kind of material, but that genuinely happened. There was no one else around. Exactly. Nice. And we just sat and watched them, and we're on the deck, and because of how we were traveling in the sun, we actually could see with a decent pace the sun setting behind the horizon, things like that, which aren't what are in the brochure. It's like some 70-year-old this is better than a retirement home. But I like it. But anyway, but I went on
the point you were making.
Digressed a bit there. Sorry,
you've grinded for a little while in the gym.
So I remember when I went on that thing, I was 9 stone 6.
Okay, so
I went on the thing,
and you were 8 stone,
and I were 8 stone 4 when I started. So I gained about a stone, obviously some kind of body fat, and I was just like, and I thought I was like massive. At that point, and that in my head, I'm thinking
you're walking around with the top off.
Yeah, exactly, and it was so funny because I remember like people like looking at me.
Perspective just changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I remember people looking at me and I'm thinking, they think I'm shredded.
Yeah,
and I probably was lean.
In your head, you're like, I got
at 9 stone 6, they're probably thinking he needs to eat something.
Yeah,
still. But anyway, so then you go through like the usual phases that everyone goes through bodybuilding. So it's like, you learn what bulking is. And it's like, right, I need to eat as much food as I possibly can and consume as much calories. And I used to, the amount of stuff I did to gain weight, because I never had a big appetite at all.
No.
So used to drink, Serious Mass from Optimum Nutrition.
Yeah.
Used to make that like a full thing of it with whole milk and just down it before bed, which is like 1,500 calories. Like, and I used to drink it, and it was almost like the first time I ever had it. It was like a Tom and Jerry scene. So I downed it, and I thought, I got the banana one. I was like, that doesn't seem that bad. And I could just feel it growing in my stomach. And I was just like, oh God. And then it started moving upwards, and I was like, oh shit. So I went upstairs.
I was just going to say that, like, surely on the stomach.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly,
my God.
At that weight as well, 1,500 calories is a lot. To pile on top of your normal
it's like,
day stuff.
It's probably not too far off what you were eating in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
You're on doubling what you've been.
Yeah, I mean maintenance at that weight. Yeah, I mean, depending on what you're doing, it's got to be roughly in that ballpark. And I ran upstairs and like literally white bathroom, everywhere,
Banana.
projectile banana. And I remember my mum walking past and she just went, well, that's getting thrown away in the morning, isn't it? And then just carried on walking and just left me in like a pile of my own sick, just like feeling sorry for myself. And then like all sorts of
But
other
you
shit,
still
man.
continue to do that?
Still, yeah. So I did, but then I broke it down. So I made it in the morning,
You'd have it through
and I'd have a little sip.
Yeah.
And I'd have a little sip, I'd have a little sip, and I could
Nice.
do that through the day.
Yeah, just top up.
Yeah, and then I used to I drank olive oil.
Yeah,
Literally
I've
just
heard that before.
sucked it, and
Yeah.
it's disgusting, and you feel like garbage. And
What the hell am I doing?
and then I went down the route of like just eating.
Tom's brother, you know,
Matty.
Matty,
Yeah.
Matty used to do that, and I remember him because Matty used to always be like, obviously he was athletic
Yeah.
at school naturally, you know, playing football.
Yeah.
But he was always quite skinny.
Yeah.
And I remember he was always just trying to eat. It was
Just
like
scrawny
he just
stuff.
had to eat all the time because obviously he was so active as well.
Yeah.
He'd come into the cafeteria with like a box of Jaffa cakes, and his challenge would be to just like he'd have
Just
the
smash them
Jaffa
all
cakes
in.
like all the one pack of Jaffa cakes through the day,
That's
and then he'd be
crazy,
making
innit?
protein shakes and putting olive oil in them.
Yeah.
and shit like that.
It's bonkers the stuff you go to. My thing that I figured out was not quite Jaffa cakes, but do you know those little Kinder bars?
Yeah,
They're so nice. I used to get a big box of them.
they're like crispy ones, is that?
No, not the crispy ones. You're thinking of Buenos.
The
thin
white
ones.
chocolate ones that are like sort of
ridged.
Yeah,
Those.
mate, they're so.
They are, yeah, exactly. They
Yeah.
are next to it, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I used to just have them on a shelf in the bedroom. And what I used to do is, like, as we were getting close to the end of the day, I used to be like, I'm under calories here. So I just used to scran a couple. And just getting... Yeah, exactly. Basically, just because they're easy to, like, smash in. And I used to do that to kind of get the calories in. And obviously, it's the wrong way to go about it. But you don't... when
It kind of goes where it needs to go, though, when you're that age. To an extent, doesn't it?
It does, really. And then, sort of like... The nutrition side was definitely questionable, but I knew I had to get high protein.
Yep.
And then I knew I had to get calories in. So it sort of worked from a bulking point of view.
Have you learned that through like Scott at that point, or were you into sort of self-education at this point?
No, it was basically through Scott initially. And he said basically protein, aim for a gram per pound, which was always the target.
Yeah.
And it's not far wrong. It's a good guesstimate in it, really. There aren't like nuances to it, but a gram per pound's a really good thing to aim for. And then he said, and he just said, you've got to eat, you've got to eat. And he was saying like, you've got to eat like fish and spinach and blueberries, and he was listing off loads of good stuff. But my brain was like, I've just got to eat. And it stopped there. So I was just like McDonald's, Kinder, all sorts of stuff. Like, it felt like crap. And, and then training wise, I tried to get a little bit better, but you fall into that trap of like, lift as heavy as humanly possible in whatever technique. That like everyone goes through, right? But it wasn't until really I started teaching that when I had to change my program up because of my schedule changing, I looked into it a bit and I was like, right, let's see, because I knew I wasn't going to have as much time to train. I were only going to be able to train 4 days a week, and I've been doing like 6. I was like, right, I need to have a look at this and see how I can make it more optimized. And then I started looking at like different ways of training, and I found Jeff Nippard's stuff. And I was like, oh, this seems really good, and did his full body split, and it's like supposed to be 5 days, and then he's in one of his things, he's like, but you can do it over 4. So I was like, all right then, cool, I'll stick with this. And I just ran it, and it's only like I think it's like a 12-week program, but I just kept running it round and round and round. And he's got a bit in there with like a book, a link to like a book, which I think is called Body Recomposition.
Okay.
That has loads of good stuff on nutrition in there.
Yeah.
Some of it's maybe been iterated on now. It's not like massively wrong, but there's like nuances to it, as there always is. But it's a really good guide. And I just followed that. And then all of a sudden I started noticing big improvements with things. So I started getting stronger. My physique started changing, and it was really, things were going in the right direction. And then I always said I wanted to do a bodybuilding show, but the timing was never right. Like, things were really stressful with teaching.
You're a science teacher.
Yeah, I used to teach physics. But obviously, I mean, anyone that's a teacher, hats off, because it's such a difficult we can touch on that a bit if you want, or whatever, like, or skip past it. I don't mind, but but it's obviously quite difficult to fit things in, particularly when you've got to watch everything, and obviously you can't just get your food out in a science lab because you're not allowed.
Just start scanning chicken.
Exactly.
And rice mid-experiment.
And sometimes like there was shit with meetings where it's like, oh, this is run over, so it's like, oh, and I'm not gonna have time to go to the gym, and now because I need to get this work done as well, and it just it massively got in the way of having a normal life, basically.
You clearly developed this passion for going and doing what you were doing at the gym.
Oh yeah,
over those years.
Well, I think it's because I saw kind of the rewards, because like I never felt comfortable in myself ever, and then it's quite weird actually, because I never felt comfortable in how I looked, and always been a bit like, obviously built like a rake, a see-through rake. It's like, well, hang on, and I didn't really take care of my appearance in terms of like fashion or anything, so it was just like just very much a nothing in terms of like that kind of aesthetics point of view. And then I started noticing that like I get changes. I got like broader shoulders, my back was quite started widening, and arms getting bigger, veins. and exactly. And then I started getting like just comments off people that were like sort of friends and or people we knew. And I remember once we were out, and this guy just like started grabbing my arm, like someone I knew, but he just started grabbing my arm, and I was like, what are you doing? And he was just like, yeah, getting some guns there. And I turned around and there were like a couple of like older women that he were with, and they were like, as if to say you're doing something.
Bit of validation.
It's like we've noticed now. And it was like, oh, maybe there's something to this, and it kind of inspired a little bit of confidence there that the changes that I thought were happening because other people were.
Say you were chasing that confidence, that self.
Yeah, definitely,
confidence,
1,000%. Yeah. Go for it.
To interrupt, do you feel like you're comfortable in your skin now with how you look?
Yes and no. There's two parts to that. I feel comfortable in my skin, but not because of how I look. I know that sounds really weird.
No,
and it's kind of a weird. It's a weird curve. Part of it is prep, but I know now at the minute, like I'm the leanest I've ever been, and in terms of like aesthetics and stuff, it's probably like the best I've ever looked. But also with that, I think bodybuilders, a lot of them have body dysmorphia to some degree anyway. When you're in this level of prep, it goes completely off the charts. Like
you're over analyzing every detail.
It's like every mirror's got a different opinion. Basically, and it's so strange because it's like I look at myself now.
That's a really good little piece, that I think.
What? Every mirror's got a different. It's not mine. I'd love to be able to claim it. I can't remember who, but it's some guy on Instagram, but it obviously resonated in my head somewhere.
I thought you just pulled that out.
No, I wish. I wish I wish I could claim that. No.
Obviously, I mean, at the end of the day, what bodybuilding is, which separates it from a lot of sports, is it is chasing perfection. And that's not to say that other sports don't involve a certain element to that, because obviously they all do to some extent, but I think that the nature of bodybuilding is you are chasing perfection.
I think so.
And you have to almost, to get to that point, you have to be perfect for such a long period of time as well.
Yeah, I think consistency is the heart of it.
Yeah,
you're definitely right. And I think there's so many elements to it, because it's like in all of the things that make bodybuilding, in terms of like or make a bodybuilder, should I say, you've got the obvious stuff. So you've got like good training, but obviously what does that look like? It's different for different people. Different people respond better to different types of training in terms of like volume, in terms of intensity. So you've got that element. You've got the diet factor again, with different food intolerances, and some people prefer different things.
There's no one key.
No, there's really not.
One solution.
And I'll get to that in a minute, because it's like, I think one thing that I've really learned this prep is the importance of a coach. And I'll be honest, I was always a little bit on the skeptical side, but I will come back to that. You've then got like the general genetics dice roll,
of course,
of how well can you build muscle, how do your muscles insert, like have you got big muscle bellies or not. You've also got then, you know, genetic tolerance of drugs when they enter the chat, because then it's like, you know, some people can just tolerate larger amount of drugs, some people can respond better off lower amounts. Like a lot of people assume that Mr. Olympia is taking 40 times more, and you'd be surprised. And you know, like Chris Bumstead, famously, when he was revealed what he was, obviously a classic guy, but he revealed what he was on, and he was hardly taking. There'll be people at your gym taking a lot more than what he was doing. He just had god tier genetics, basically,
coupled with all the rest of the
with everything else.
Said.
His brother-in-law is a you know, I think he was top 10 Olympia. He won second at the Arnold Classic. Ian Valliere, very knowledgeable guy, really nice guy by the sounds. He had him in his corner, so obviously that's already a pretty good formula. You know, so you've got all of these different. You've then got the work ethic side, which again, like Dorian Yates always said that he, you know, like Kevin Levrone and Flex Wheeler were better than him genetically, but he outworked them. He said that no one outworked him because it's just not possible. He was working as hard as he possibly could. So he knew from that he was winning that. So there's that kind of side, and then you get people that are like, you know, that just the best bodybuilders are ones that win at all of those. So like Ronnie Coleman, you know.
Well, didn't he place in his first? Like he wasn't taking it.
He wasn't doing. He wasn't. He was natural.
Absolutely crazy.
It's crazy. Like, and then I think it was Flex Wheeler he spoke to and said, like, you know, what are you guys doing? And he like told him about it, and he's like, oh, and then all of a sudden, you know, the rest is history. But yeah, so you get these kind of these different things, but the body dysmorphia thing, just to kind of come back to it, just as a brief touch point, goes massively off the charts. And what's worrying is I think it can break people really badly. I do know of someone who's a bodybuilder, and they have almost, like, bodybuilding's kind of almost been their savior from a lot of things, but it's also ruined them because of the body dysmorphia, and they can't get past certain obsessions like calorie counting, or, you know, it's like, if I don't have this amount of calories, or they're frightened to eat a bit more to bulk up to then come back because they're not sure they'll be able to do it. But at the minute, like for me, from this sort of
2 week out,
and I would say, like, from this kind of this inertial frame, like where I'm looking from, I look absolute garbage all the time, and it's like almost like a Jekyll and Hyde in my head, because it's like I know that can't be the case, but that's what it looks like, and it's really strange. And so this is the importance of a coach, because essentially, like, Dambo is my eyes now. And all I do is I follow what he says to the letter, so I trust that he's going to guide me right. So I do the sets that he says, the reps that he says, I eat what he says, when he says, drink the water, do the salt, and I literally follow it like to the letter. And then I rely on him to make the changes as he sees fit. He's got more experienced eyes than me anyway.
Of course,
but obviously, I'm almost now like blind now.
Having that external input from somebody who you're putting your trust into on the basis that they are more knowledgeable than you, it's completely reasonable. But it's completely fair. Like,
I was skeptical first about coaches just in general. This is going back a few years, because I was like, but if you know how to train and you know how to eat, you know, all the info's online. We live in a wonderful age where you can just. The problem is there's too much sometimes, but if you can fish through the crap, you can find really good stuff and reputable sources. You know, people like Dr. Mike and Lane Norton and all these, you know, really big hitters in the field. You can get some really good stuff, and I was like, the coach is just a little bit. It's just someone saying, go and just work out and eat less and walk more. That's kind of what I thought it was. and then you realise that they're coaching your mind a lot more than anything else. And it's why I sort of and I wrote a message to Dan afterwards, and I think we talked about it a little bit, because
That's exactly what the title is of the Dambo pod. It's coaching the mind before the muscle.
Oh, is that the actual? Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's now. It's ringing a bell now you mention it. But one of the things that came across in the podcast, and then we talked about afterwards, and also just from chatting to Dan a bit, he was frightened, or not necessarily frightened, but pissed off that people were nicking his workout programs, and sometimes, like he mentioned in the thing, not even changing both it off it, just going, oh, there you go, there's your workout program, and it's still got like Dan's face in the corner with like a thumbs up or something, and like he was getting annoyed about it, and I can see why, because when you've built what you've built from nothing, and people are then ripping it off, it must be annoying. But it's like, in terms of what makes a coach successful, I would put that 10% or less. Genuinely.
What, the
diet and the nutrition,
diet and the plan itself?
Because you can find all that online really easily, and there's so much man,
that's it. I think I suppose what you're saying is there's enough out there to the point where you could just put into ChatGPT and collate X amount of research papers and studies and anecdotal evidence from the internet to produce what should be the airtight, bulletproof, perfect prep plan to have you coming home with a place, like, you know, a medal,
I mean,
whatever. But the difference comes in there with.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to know how well it does with a bodybuilding prep plan. Actually, I've not tried it, but I think from from a lifestyle point of view, which encompasses the majority of clients.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm letting all the secrets out of the bag, but if you watch your protein and your calories, if you pick heavy stuff up and put it down again a few times a week, and you do some steps, you're going to be in good condition compared to the general person. You'll have a decent-ish physique. If you did that for a year, from almost any starting point, unless you're an extreme.
That's you speaking from experience.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. But that's
and myself as well.
Yeah, definitely. But that's what it can be boiled down to.
Yeah, when you simplify it.
But then there's an oversimplification there, because that's what it takes. But walking that walk is very different. And one of the things that I will certainly give him his props, but like one of the things that Dan's very good at is working out how much and what people can handle in terms of what he lets them know. Now, I know some of it will be he don't want to reveal all his secrets. There'll be a bit of that, which you know, it makes sense.
As we just acknowledge,
yeah, exactly. But also there's certain bits where he's like, and even with me, it was like, I've got I like to think a decent-ish head on my shoulders, and
well, you were a physics teacher.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like, it's
a very logical,
and you're obviously an intelligent, conscientious person who cares and has a passion for what you're doing. So I think naturally you're going to ask the questions to have the understanding and the knowledge behind the method of what you're actually doing.
Well, the thing is as well, when he gives me something and some new instruction, it's not like he gives me it and I think this is pure sorcery. I know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I know, like, okay, so the last 2 weeks, I have a rough idea what I've got in store for me, to varying degrees. Yeah, because some coaches do things slightly differently. There's different ways of prepping depending on, you know, the person that you are coaching, and also there's different ways that a coach might like to approach things. Some ways are safer than others. You want to go in so you're not going to overspill. Do you want to go in and just aim for that bullseye? There's a few different ways, but I've got a rough idea what's coming and I know why and all these kind of things. But I'm liking the idea that I can just leave him to it.
Yeah, like you say, you're just following.
Yeah,
you're offsetting the need to think about it.
Exactly, and that's what's important. And one of the things...
Do you think that's like the Jocko kind of discipline is freedom? Kind of.
A little bit. I think...
You know, like you've freed up your own mental capacity.
Yeah.
In that respect.
I think
to just focus, rather than focusing and worrying about how you're going to do it. you've outsourced that to Dan, so then all your energy can go into just what you're doing,
just doing it.
And
because one of the things that you, and I can say this being on both sides now, one of the things you underestimate is how strange your behaviour goes when you're this far into prep, in a lot of different ways. It's really odd.
So you go on, tell me.
I mean, well, the first of all, obviously, like I mentioned, the body dysmorphia goes off the charts. Like you
what does that lead to? Obviously, you overanalyzing how you look in the mirror. If every mirror's got a different opinion. Obviously, fractional body percentage counter marks matter at this stage in the game. How does that transpire into how you act and carry yourself in day-to-day life?
For me personally,
for you,
it doesn't. And the reason why is because I knew it could happen. And Dambo warned me before. He was like, your head will go. Definitely. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute. This is someone that coaches and does also competes, and he has a coach. So he must know. Yeah. There's something to this. And then I read about it, and it happens quite often. And it's why it's very difficult to coach yourself.
Head will go in what? Like, what does he mean by that?
As in, like, I look in my mirror now, and I think I look better 6 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm less defined. I'm smaller. And then my power's going down at the gym, and it's like I'm obviously losing muscle. And it just
you feel
any
like
kind
you're
of
doing almost what you've worked.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it give me like a higher carb day, and it's like that's it. I'm just a ball of water now. It's not true. Like, and it's like I knew it would happen, so I was like, right, I've basically gone, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm just following what Dambo says to the letter. I trust him as my coach, so that's all I need to do.
Yeah.
So even though one part of my brain is going, you look shit, you're doing it wrong.
Jackal.
Exactly. The kind of discipline, laser focus part is going, stick to the plan, stick to the plan, stick to the plan, and just repeating that over and over again at the expense of everything else. Like whatever I think is happening, whether I think things are going pear-shaped or not, just stick to the plan. If, I've got, this is not going to happen. But if, for example, I do a series of shows and come last every time, there's going to be a part of me that's going, maybe he's not right.
Yeah.
But that's just, it's not going to happen.
Mate, I mean, I'm not a coach or a judge or anything like that, but I feel like you could probably go on stage even now and you do pretty well.
I don't know, and it's almost one of them things where it's like
it's easy for me to say that, but like just from what I know, not even without even seeing you with your kit off, with a pump on, with a tan, this, that, whatever, under the lights, what I know about you, like I was saying earlier, 12 years you've been doing this, like you say. Obviously, you've probably had a couple of ups and downs here and there.
Oh, definitely.
Along the way,
messed
stuff up.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone does.
Bit of time off, overspilled on the bulk, whatever. But
yeah, definitely.
Like I said earlier, from the time that I've known you, I feel like you are probably the most consistent man that I know.
I think
when it comes to things, and I think also this is something that me and Dan spoke about last time I saw him. I feel like you've got that and take this in the best way possible. That autistic superpower of just locking the fuck in, and
I have it with everything though,
and not missing a beat.
It's one of them things where it's like I have it with everything. So it's like whatever I'm doing, I'm either in or I'm out.
Yeah,
that's it. It's a very binary thing. It's not like I'll try it a bit or whatever. So when I was teaching, I wanted to be the best teacher. I wanted to be the best at communicating. I bought books,
the smartest.
I wanted to be I bought books on how best to communicate, how to present, like what actually needed to be. And this is part of the reason why I kind of fell out of love with teaching. I didn't fall out of love with teaching. I fell out of love with the school.
Okay.
Because I got increasingly frustrated with the amount of work and stuff they were giving us to do that was pointless. There was no benefit. There was no benefit to the students. It was a box ticking exercise, so they could try and keep tabs on what you were doing, and it wasted so much time.
Almost.
Exactly, micromanaging. It's like, oh, you need to do this thing because it's good, and then you can say, well, can you show me that it's good? Can you prove that in any demonstrable way as a scientist? Have you got any data for that? And they never did. And it's like, well, then I'm not going to do it. I'm going to me, where the effort should lie is the planning of the lesson and the execution of the lesson. And then from that, it's then you need to test, analyze the data that comes back, work out where students are missing, recap, we go again. That's the secret for teaching, in my opinion. Good teaching is you do that. So you make sure that what you're delivering is absolutely top notch. You know your stuff inside out, and you can put it across in so many different ways. And then you have a good rapport with the class. You need to build those relationships. Students respond differently. We're all different people. And you've got to do the best you can in a class of 30 with slightly different personalities, different needs, etc. That bit you've got to do your best with. And then it's about getting the data back and analysing and going, okay, as a whole, the class is struggling with this subset of people are struggling with this, they're struggling with that, and then you piece together lessons to fill those gaps, and then you move on and then you retest. That's all that needs to happen. How you achieve that should be completely up to the teacher, in my opinion. And then it should be, okay, let's have a look at your results. And if your results are fine, just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
It's why would you even worry about it? From a manager's point of view, if you've got someone you employ who is ticking all the boxes, getting all the metrics, why would you care how they were doing it?
The problem is, not everybody's like you in that respect, though. Like they're I'm sure you probably met people like this when you were teaching in that school. There's some people who are just there for the paycheck, mate. And there's people who are passionate about what they're doing and actually care. And in those people, you could probably leave them to do that. But for the people who don't give a fuck and who are there just for the paycheck, that's why you need that kind of.
You do get those, but the ones that used to make me laugh the most, and there were quite a few of these, there were ones that basically, so all the stuff I described, and that's my opinion to some degree, but that's what's important about being a teacher. But then there was all this other stuff, this red tape stuff that the school would make you do, the hoops that you'd have to jump through, and these weren't mandated by like Ofsted or anything. These were just the school decided they were important for reasons. And
such as what?
So like one of them was like a seating plan, for example, and you had to write on. You had a big A3 sheet, and you had to write on struggles with this, prefers to be called Jeff instead of Jimmy, and you had to manually go on and write on, and it should be updated every lesson, and every half term you should print a new one with some new information on. It was just a royal waste of time, but they would put that into the QA process. And they'd be like, "Oh no, your seating plan isn't done properly, so that's not good there." And they'd be like,
is that QA qualitative?
Quality assurance, basically, yeah. And there were a few pointless exercises like that. And the thing I noticed really early on, all of the best teachers didn't do that. The best teachers, and one of the best teachers I ever saw, a guy called Dan Hannard, who was fantastic. And he's now doing very well for himself working at a private school. He didn't do that, and he spoke to me very early on and explained that he was like, you've got to tick the boxes, but just get it done like it's a pile of shit, like focus on this stuff. And he was an excellent teacher, excellent results, and I cottoned onto that very quickly. The other thing I also cottoned onto, there was a lot of very, very shit teachers that somehow rose through the ranks because they did all this extra pointless crap, and they put so much like stock into it.
Yeah.
They're like, oh no, you need to do this to be a good teacher. And there was someone who she was an advanced skills teacher with like 14 years experience in teaching science at the school I was at, and she was awful. She was just so bad, like, as a teacher. And the fact that she taught science for like 14 years. No, she just put so much stock into things that didn't matter. And it was like, oh no, you have to have all these different worksheets printed off for different levels and all this kind of stuff. And it
in a weird kind of paradoxical way. Like, that sounds like she was sort of being a student to the teachers, or to the, like being the trying to be top of the class, almost ticking all the boxes.
Yeah, almost. It was just, but what was frustrating is she used to pick loads of people up on different things, but she was an advanced skills teacher, 14 years I think, or maybe even more at that point. Yeah. And she would come running into my room 5 minutes before she was about to teach a lesson going, have I got this right? And I'm sat there, a question she was about to teach the kids. And I used to be sat there thinking, how on earth are you paid what you're paid? You come in and critique my lessons. And you are asking a basic question that you pull any year 11 out of the top 2 sets, and they would laugh at you.
That question.
And it's like, and you know, there was quite a few of those, and I'm thinking this is not right. But anyway, so like but you know, we've digressed again. My bad. But it's
I'm just laughing because it's got me thinking about my science teachers.
Oh yeah, if you think back to your teachers at school, you know which ones actually gave a shit and which ones didn't now.
Mate, it's so true, you know.
Yeah.
We had this science teacher, and he just did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, he lost all our coursework. Like,
oh no.
And he
in the days of coursework.
We used to just purely take for lack of a better word, we would just all taking the piss in the class.
Yeah.
I was in top set. And like, we'd just run rings around him, like, taking the piss. The lessons were boring.
But that's why.
Exactly. And then I had this. I'd never particularly like enjoyed maths, but I was good at it. Just I could just understand it. Like, I just got it until I went to college, and then I didn't.
It's a big step up.
Maths. But we got this maths teacher in year 11, and I feel like all my maths teachers up until that point were shit. For one reason or another. And then we got this maths teacher in year 11, and he was so, like, I don't know what it was. At first, he was just like this super dry, like,
it's the rapport.
Young guy. It was probably early-ish 20s. I want to say like maybe 25, if that, like sort of my age now, which is weird to think when I think back to it. Short, buzz cut, glasses. And he was super dry and a little bit, you know, like maths teacher kind of like
the funny nerdy,
funny nerdy, and for some reason it just made me fall in love with maths. Like, and it was my favourite lesson.
That's all it takes,
mate. There was this one time when we were in maths. I hope the boys are listening to this because they'll laugh. But basically, end of the lesson, he turned the projector off, but we could see his monitor. And if you drew on the whiteboard, it was still drawing stuff on the screen.
So drew a massive knob or whatever. You've got to
drew
do
a ginormous cock on the whiteboard. And then just as we're waiting for the bell, he's like, right, tells everybody to shut up. Everyone goes dead silent, and he's like, I've seen what's been done on there.
Yeah.
I don't know who's done it. I've got my suspicions.
Yeah.
But I want whoever's done it to come and apologise to me at break time.
Right.
And any other lesson, no way would I or anybody go to apologise to the teacher for that.
Yeah.
Dobbing yourself in for drawing a giant cock on the whiteboard. Like, why would you do it? But because we respected him,
right,
we went and we told him, and he was like, listen, lads, I don't really care. Like, it's kind of funny, but
yeah,
it's kind of funny, but just don't do it. It's just stupid.
Yeah,
and that was it. And it was just that, mate. The fact that I'm talking about this now, that was a lesson that was outside. You know what I mean? That was outside.
Definitely
outside of the classroom, which is
there's so many, and like there's still, you know, the students that I kind of taught. That I'm slowly. I always said, like, when they were 18, then even though I'm out of teaching, it doesn't really matter now. When they got to 18, if they wanted to add me on Instagram or whatever, then it'd be fine. It's funny because Aiden, obviously,
AJ,
I did teach him for a very brief spell when he was in year 9, and he was already like built like a fridge then. Absolutely. And I remember when he was in year 11, someone said, how much can you deadlift, sir? And I was like, I have no idea. I don't really deadlift. And they were telling me about Aiden.
Started giving him science-based lifting tips.
Yeah, exactly. And they were telling me about this lad who could deadlift like an obscene amount. Yeah, it was like a decent amount anyway, but then also
200 plus.
I feel like it was 200 kilos or 220 kilos or something at that time.
15, 16 years
15.
Old. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a lot. And I'm always with those things. I have it now. I always want it to be true.
Yeah,
because I love it. There's a guy one of my brother's football mates that claims he can leg press like 400 kilos for 10 reps, and his build doesn't suggest anywhere near that.
No.
And the science part of me is thinking it's probably not true.
Yeah.
But the part that really loves stuff like that, I really want it to be true, because I love it when you see stuff like
say that. I know this guy.
I love seeing stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It really and so obviously when with Aiden, when someone mentioned it, I was just like, it's probably not true, but it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
And it may have even been like 260 or something. It was an obscene amount.
Yeah.
And then we got talking a little bit one day about training, about wolf juice and whatever, and it came about because one of the kids like knocked on my room and went, "Oh, I saw you on TikTok, sir." And I was like, "Well, you didn't, because I'm not on TikTok." And he was like, "It's definitely you." And I was like, yeah, but I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, "On TikTok?" And he went, "Yeah, can I show you on my phone?" I was like, "Well, yeah, if you want."
Yeah.
So he showed me, and it was in Trident Fitness in Morley.
Yeah.
Doing like bicep curls, and I like leanish at the time.
Yeah.
And that spread around the school like wildfire.
Wow,
did that because they were like, because it's not, you don't normally get teachers who train really.
No,
certainly not science ones,
and certainly not teachers who are on so like.
Yeah, exactly. It was a bit of a rare, like that, a rare thing. I was pulled about it by the teachers,
right?
Because they went, your profile's public, and I went, yeah, and they went, you need to make that private, and I was like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Like, why do I need to make that private? And they were like, oh, because you've got videos of you in a vest lifting. I was like, yeah, I'm promoting fitness, like,
yeah, that's a healthy
better thing. There's like, all I'm doing is doing some bicep curls, like, for a brand that I work with. Like, there's nothing weird about that. And I think they kind of thought about it and then realised there wasn't a right lot they could do about it.
No.
It's not like I'd got an OnlyFans on the go, and
no,
you know
it's
what
not
I mean?
like you're trying to sell pictures.
Yeah, and
you're
or sell
promoting
pre-workout to like kids in the lockers, like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't any of those things,
yeah.
And it was a real strange sort of thing.
That's a tricky one to navigate, really, when you think about it.
It is a little bit, and it's funny because it does. Do
you feel like that gave you a bit of respect with the kids?
A little bit, yeah. It's, to be honest,
one of the thought you were a bit cooler.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was ridiculously cool anyway, but like, it's never hurts for a bump in street cred, does it?
True.
To be honest, though, like, it would all the secret of being like you say, is just being all right with the kids.
Yeah, man,
and
being
just
understand
that they are humans. They're learning.
I like that about that guy, because
you're gonna be thinking about this tonight, aren't you? You're gonna properly sit and think about. Do you know what? Like,
well, it's got me sat here thinking, like, what would I be like as a teacher? That's what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, the name of the podcast is The Learning Curve. Like, the idea behind it, to some extent, is what are the lessons that I have learned along the way to get to where I am now. That if I could go back to myself when I was in a not so good period of my life, somewhat similar but different to what you were saying, where you were at a certain age, maybe around that age, probably a little bit younger, what would I go, having learned what I've learned in this 5-6 years, what would I go back and tell myself? And I suppose that is kind of
buy Bitcoin. That'd be a good one.
There is that. But yeah, what would I actually, what are the key kind of things that I would go back and say?
The thing is, though, it's and again, you touched on this a little bit with the Dambo thing. Life experience shapes what comes next. So sometimes you kind of need to get your arse burnt a bit, and you need to kind of have these hardships.
That's where the learning takes place.
Yeah, and it's it's funny. There's a game called Overwatch that I used to play quite a lot, and one of the voice lines on it is that it says, like, pain is an excellent teacher, and I don't mean literally like getting beaten, but I mean those things of hardship are where the most learning takes place.
What Marcus said on the last episode as well.
Is it right?
Pain is power. That's the title of that one.
Right. These are good titles. Props.
I'm serious about this shit.
Yeah, I know, exactly. But they are where you make the most. The mistakes are where.
Well, it's like the uncomfortable area.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
when you're forced to break out of your comfort zone, and
I think
different thinking, and
the best environment you can possibly give anyone is the freedom to be able to make mistakes and for them to know that it's fine to make that. And I think because so many people are frightened to make a mistake, and I can't remember who the quote's attributed to, but I'm a big fan of quotes.
Me too.
Because I think I have quite a few favourites. This isn't one of them, but I do have. But those who never made a mistake usually didn't make anything. And it's a good, it's a good sort of little.
Do you think that resonates
aphorism, I guess,
with you particularly from that period of your life where you were saying like you were super anxious that you were over analysing everything?
Yeah.
Do you think you shelled up because you were just kind of?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was just overanalyzing everything, wondering what I was missing, constantly wondering if I was on the right path. Am I doing the right thing? Should I pick something else? Should I have gone down a different road? And there's so many things that it's funny because like my wife talks about this a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, should I have done something else?" But if she'd have made that decision, she'd have gone to a different uni. And so chances are we wouldn't have met and rekindled in the same way that we did, and then our son and daughter wouldn't exist. And it's like the butterfly effect of that. One decision like affects everything else, and I think I wouldn't. The only thing I would, even then I maybe wouldn't, but the only thing I would potentially go back is just kind of go, it'll all be fine.
Yeah,
and it will be fine.
Well, I think I certainly resonate with what you said there about being on the right path and worrying about that. It's particularly when I was sort of like 17, 18, 19 years old, feeling like certain people in my friendship circle had their shit figured out already, like they knew what they were going to be doing in this amount of time, and I had no idea, and that scared the shit out of me. Because I thought, well, if I don't know now, then when am I going to know? And I need to know because other people know, and I don't want to get left behind, and this and that. And then even now, like, things are a little bit clearer.
I think you realise that day is never coming.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's a few things I
think maybe it comes for some people.
Yeah, there's something we can talk about, which we'll do it at the very end.
All
right. Just in case it needs bleeping out. But going back to kind of, I guess, the discipline side and all of those things, it's a little bit of a superpower in prep because obviously you dotting the I's, crossing the T's, you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and doing the do, and I let Danbo worry about the reasoning and the timing and everything else. And the arse pictures, yeah. And my wife's worried about those as well. But I would say, in fact, that's something that also. So, because you're asking how it's affected you, so obviously there's like prep with you. So obviously like you get the body dysmorphia side. There's the fact that like when you're so far in a calorie deficit, it feels like your body is about 50 kilos heavier. So your body is basically fighting to stop you moving constantly. So even really basic things, if something's upstairs, your brain is like going, you can do without it. You don't need to go upstairs. Genuinely. And it's like, and you've got to basically dig deep and go, no, I'm going upstairs. And to walk up a flight of stairs is so knackering because you're running on fumes, less than.
Well, yeah, you're literally eating away at the bare minimum of what is left of you.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think, like, let's, just for round numbers, let's say I'm 5% body fat. I'm not quite that low, but just so it's easy math. Yeah. Then if I'm 75 kilos, it means I've got 3.75 kilos of fat all over my body. That's all I've got. And if I'm in a calorie deficit,
6 foot of...
if I'm in a calorie deficit, there's no glycogen or very little glycogen floating around my system. So where's
the energy coming
from? That 3.75 kilos has to keep my basic functions going, keep me warm, which doesn't happen. I'm freezing all the time. Like, yes, it's funny because Jen's got the windows open and I'm just like, it's freezing. She's like, it's really not. It's like 23 degrees. And I'm like, I've got goosebumps. Because there's no insulation there. So obviously your body's just fighting you every step of the way. Sleep goes out the window because your body's waking you up because your blood sugar's dropping. So you're trying to sleep and you just wake up and I've never had a problem sleeping. I've always been a really good sleeper, and you just wake up several times in the night because your body's just like,
what's going on?
It's like, you're dying, mate. You need to eat some food. But on the days where you have higher carbs, you sleep like a baby. Like you have a high carb meal just before bed, and obviously because of that, like the cortisol drops, and then all of a sudden I got into bed after like a couple of high days on the bounce, head at the pillow, and I was completely out until morning. Like it was one of the best night's sleep I'd ever had, and it's purely because of that. And you've got to try and manage that fatigue as you go along, and it's, there's a bit of a sort of art to it. Again, this is where the coaching side sort of plays into it. But one thing that you need is either to be alone, or you need a very supportive partner, particularly if you've got kids. Like in terms of timing, this was possibly the worst possible time to pick to do a bodybuilding show.
Well, I feel like like you said earlier, you've been wanting to do one for a long time.
Exactly.
And I think you being you, naturally, you wanted to do it right. You were waiting, trying to pick your moment.
Exactly. I was going to do it when I was a teacher. It was too stressful. Then Hallie came along, and it was too stressful. And then it was like, okay, you're back into it, right? Okay. And then
baby number 2's on the way.
Baby number 2's arriving. So I'm thinking, I ain't got enough time to do this properly, so I'm going to have to wait until afterwards. And again, it just dawned on me, it's like, there's not going to be a right time.
Yeah, you've just got to make shit happen. Yeah.
And I'm insanely fortunate that Jen has picked up like the lion's share of things, because it's just like on an evening you're just dead, like you're just staring into space. You're also very snappy, even though from my perspective I don't think I am. So she said, you're snapping at me, and I was like, I'm not. I'm really not. And she was like, you are
just being short.
And I don't, and it's over like such little things, but the other side is as well, on with that, everything annoys you. Everything. Yeah. Like it can be, I mean, I can't even, for me, road rage is one of them where it's definitely come up. And it's quite funny because I accidentally sent her a message on Siri. She messaged me in the car, and it was quite funny. And I said something like, can I swear on this? Like, I think I have done a couple of times. But I said something like,
I mean, it depends what it's going to be. Like.
No. It's the C word.
Say it. I don't get it.
Yeah. But I just said, like, you drive for a living, you slack cunt. What are you doing? Like
to somebody who,
to a taxi driver that was sat at a roundabout where it was his right away and not going.
She messaged you.
Because she messaged me, it sent a Siri text to her. So she sent me, and I didn't know. So she sent me a message saying, "Huh?" And I was like, and then she rung me after, and she was like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Why?
Are you? And she's like, you sent me a text. And I was like, I'm in the car. So she sent me a screenshot of it, and I looked when I got home, and it just said, you drive for a living, you slack cunt. What are you doing? So it was quite funny.
That is golden.
But so everything annoys you. And at work, like, normally when you be a bit more patient with people twittering on in meetings, you just like, right, can we pull back to you're a bit more
straight to the point.
It's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as you can control it, because you do end up being a bit more.
You got to be you're being efficient.
You're a bit more of a leader, because it's like, we need to get this meeting done and finished so I can leave. That's basically what you're kind of thinking. You basically you kind of strip everything down to, right, we need to talk about this. This needs discussing. Right, okay, I'm doing this. Right, okay, I'll see you later.
Do you ever see yourself going back into teaching?
Never say never.
Yeah, but the transition from teaching to what you're doing now. Yeah,
that was an interesting
refreshing
one.
Or
it was a hard, bearing in mind at the time, so obviously I was teaching.
Yeah.
And then once I'd done all my teaching stuff, I was self-studying, doing software development alongside.
Yes.
And and completely self-studied for about 18 months whilst alongside teaching. And when I knew I was about to make the jump, school ended up being arseholes anyway about something when I asked for 2 hours off for an interview, and they wouldn't give me it. That's because it wasn't professionally, because I didn't email the head teacher, who had a massive ego. Like, he was very much little man syndrome. He
cherry on the icing on the cake for you then.
Yeah, exactly. And I just said, you know what? Like, I'm off sick. Forget it. I can't cope with this anymore. Right. And I genuinely couldn't. I was at like breaking point. Because obviously I was trying to teach. I was trying to self-study to better my life. Jenna got postnatal depression. Hallie was just born. So there was so much going on. And all I wanted was 2 hours off to go for an interview.
Yeah.
I'd prepared the cover. I'd done everything right by the book. I didn't need to let the head teacher know because I didn't need a reference from him because it wasn't a teaching job. If you go from teaching job to teaching job, one of the references has to be for a head teacher. But it wasn't a teaching job. So I didn't need a reference from him. I just needed the time off. And he was an absolute arsehole about it. He didn't want to give me it. And I just thought, do you know what? Enough's enough.
Done.
Fuck it. And I ended up sacking that off. Basically rung the doctor, explained what happened. They were like, yeah, you need some time off given all what's going on. Sent that in. And then went and did the interview and got the job anyway. To start a bit later. So it was all kind of... everything. I knew I was close to the standard, and then obviously when I got the job, I was like, well, I'm obviously good enough. But funnily enough, that was in the teaching space. It was ed tech.
Right.
So I as well as like
flashback to
I could bring all of the knowledge about what teachers needed that they hadn't maybe considered, and I think I could talk about it. Yeah, and I think they liked it. And I had some good ideas on things. Yeah. But I mean, I love my job now. Like genuinely, it's really good. And again, it's something that like I spend time. Software development is such a vast field. You will never complete it ever. No. It's but I love getting better at it, and I've made decent progress over the time, and I just like learning new stuff, which is literally every day. Like technology's changed fast, anyway, and the fact that the field is so vast, it's just an endless well of those kind of things.
What would have to happen for you to go back into teaching?
I don't think I'd ever be able to go. The thing is, the bit I really miss is that element of helping people and shaping,
having a hands-on.
Yeah. Now, as I progress a bit further into this field, then you start mentoring juniors, and they're often younger, and so you do get a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But that's the bit that I miss, and one of the reasons I want to get into coaching actually is to help people on that thing.
Fitness coaching.
In fitness coaching, because I feel that's the one element that I'm kind of missing a little bit.
I was gonna actually ask you about that, to be fair.
About coaching.
Yeah. Go further on into things.
Yeah, I've got some plans.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little bit under wraps at the minute.
Fair.
For now, but I do have some plans of where I want to go.
You're building an
empire. I'm building an empire. Not here to take part. I'm here to take over.
Nah.
There is a little bit of that in there as well. But yeah, I've got some plans and some intentions, but they just need to kind of stay under wraps for now. But I am moving with that as well. Within the realms, obviously got 2 kids and those kind of things. But yeah, so I can't remember where we got up to. We were on about prep, weren't we?
Yeah. I started asking you about if you'd ever go back into teaching.
Yeah, that was it. Back into teaching
about software development.
Yeah, I think
about coaching.
I think it's like part of it is like like the passion, and for me, I've really I was always passionate before, but like it's hit a whole new level now working with Dambo. Like,
I was gonna ask you this as well. So like with that, then where do you see that going with the bodybuilding side of things? Like, do you think there's a possibility to keep going with that? Like, outside of an amateur level, like
I don't know,
pursuing it purely out of passion, or do you think?
I mean, my sort of, again, it's the whole I'm either in or I'm not in.
Yeah.
I will treat it like I'm a pro anyway.
Yeah.
Not in an arrogant way, just in I will do all of the steps that, like the literal steps, the diet,
all the steps,
the training, the rest, literally as much as I can do. So obviously some things you are hamstring on in terms of like if you were a full-time bodybuilder, you've got extra time to spend on recovery. You've got extra time. You usually get a decent sponsorship, so you've got extra supplements that you perhaps wouldn't take
not,
if you weren't getting them.
Yeah.
Outside of the top, 0.001% of things, doing the training, focusing on sleep when not in prep, food, the whole off season, then the prep, working on the posing has been completely new. It's really hard. I'm naturally quite awkward physically, so like I'm not very good at it naturally, so it's something I'll have to work on. Doing it for the first time in prep is a bad idea. I will say that to anyone that's thinking about this. Do it in your off season, because you've just got no energy, and posing is actually a little bit
that's
sapping.
Interesting, yeah.
So one of the things that I want to do when I move into off season, so I've got the show on a week on Sunday, and then I'm going to move into quite a long off season because I need to get bigger, because the weight cap for my height is like 90 odd kilos and I'm only 75. So I might be like 77 on stage. So I've got a good 15 to 20 kilos of quality to try and to build, which is a lot of work.
Absolutely.
So I want a long off season. I'm going to practice my posing all the way through the off season. So then when it gets to prep again, I'm sharpening, as opposed to like, hang on, where does my hand go? Yeah, like all of those kind of basics.
Well, this is it. Like you say, what was the thing you said about making something like people who don't make anything?
People who don't make mistakes never usually make anything.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, it's
and you would only be in the situation that you're in now by just having a go at it and just giving it.
It was something I always wanted to do, and I had in my head for the first season, i.e. this one, my goal was literally to get in good condition. So I wanted to be as lean as I'd ever been, whatever that looked like.
Yeah.
And to get on stage and be able to do all the poses. Initially, I thought I was going to be in men's physique. I realised we never even finished that conversation.
Yeah, true.
But, and Dambo, when I spoke to him, so classic physique is basically like the golden era of bodybuilding, that kind of look. So it's basically like they're like smaller, open guys. They're a bit more focused on
Sebum. Classic.
Yeah, Sebum. Classic. A bit more slightly focused on aesthetics. The poses that you have to do aren't exactly the same. It's a slightly different look, basically. Yeah. And I think it's one that's good because you're not going to get too big at that point.
Yeah.
The open bodybuilding now, to be obviously super competitive, is quite unhealthy in terms of
gear size.
It's just being that big, carrying that much weight around for a long period of time is not healthy.
In the off season, particularly, these guys are going to be getting up to like what?
I mean, some of them are over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, you get guys on stage that I think Big Ramy actually competed at about 300 pounds, which is obscene. But they're in the late 200s.
Yeah.
And carrying that weight around, if you think that they're like minuscule body fat at that weight, as far as the body's concerned, they're obese.
Oh yeah,
like the strain on all the internal organs and whatever, and you do, you do your
problems.
Yeah, you do your cardio and all that kind of stuff.
Will you be on stage in the tighty budgie smugglers rather than the board shorts?
Yeah, so I'll be like, there's a mid ground. So board shorts is men's physique, like sort of posing trunks, I guess you could call them, is like classic physique.
Yeah,
shiny thong. That's open bodybuilding.
Okay, yeah.
So weirdly, as the guys get bigger, the shorts get smaller. which is strange. But yeah, so it's like mine are like, they look a bit like tight swimming trunks.
Okay, yeah. For you to be able to consider this first show successful, is it just getting on stage and just having a good time?
It was being in good was being in good condition and going through the process, learning to pose, and I just mean to some degree, being able to kind of do all the poses in a way that's like not just I've practiced 5 minutes before going on stage.
And are you bothered about? I mean, obviously, let's not beat around the bush. Ideally, you don't want to lose. You don't want to come last.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's two ways of my thinking. As long as I can make, because the thing is, particularly with it being like a first timers, you can't control anyone that turns up. You could get the next Chris Bumstead that's decided, I'm going to compete. I've been doing bodybuilding for 15 years. I'm genetically elite. I'm just going to go do my first time a show. They could walk on stage. You could also get these idiots that decide that they want to go viral. They've never even been in the gym except to use the toilet and the vending machine. And they lip sync to a song and they look as though they've never trained in their life, which is people do get really annoyed about. And I can see both sides. I get annoyed the fact that you've put the graft in and they've just rocked up with a dodgy tan and they're doing some weird dance. But then I'm kind of thinking they've still got to pay the fees. They're never going to win. They're putting money into the sport. So
mate, I feel like
it's a little bit of,
I don't know.
It does kind of make a little bit of a mockery.
How do you control that though? Like,
well, there's no. The thing is, there's no barrier for entry for the amateur shows.
First timers.
Like as you move up the ranks, that you then, like, for example, to do like a pro show qualifier, you have to have done a regional. You don't have to have win. You could come anywhere, but you have to have done one.
Yeah.
With certain federations, but for literally this one, anyone off the street could just register. Well, I mean, but the thing is, even you can tell you train. I wouldn't say, you can see you've been in the gym before.
Sometimes.
You know, would I put you as like stage ready bodybuilder? Probably not. No. But you could at least tell you've been in the gym. But literally,
I've seen, mate. There was one
Big
on my
Reg,
Instagram.
the truck driver, could just go and.
There was one on my Instagram come up earlier. Just a guy, like, I would just describe him as just like skinny fat. You know, just.
Was he lip syncing to a song and like with attitude with black hair?
No, I don't think so.
I'll see if I can find the video that's gone viral, and it's like, it annoyed me a little bit because he's
just taking
him
the piss.
Specifically.
Yeah.
There's a couple where they've kind of been on journeys, so they've been on fat loss journeys, and they want to do a bodybuilding show, and they're nowhere near bodybuilding ready, but it's kind of part of their journey. They wanted to do it, and I kind of get that, and it's for them. And
body
they've
positivity,
within reason, because I do think
that
that term's been bastardized a little bit, and
it's been hijacked.
Like for some people, body positivity is like we should be accepted, whatever. And I think, you know, there's a big spectrum that's fine, but then there are outside of that edge cases where it's like, come on, you can't. You know, when you see people and they're like massively too big and they're saying, oh, this is fat phobic because I can't fit through the door. It's like, well, you're 45 stone. Of course you can't fit through the door, but that's not the door maker's problem, really. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be lines to it.
Yeah, of course.
So it's you know, that's kind of where I kind of get a bit like, oh, well, you're fat shaming them, and it's like, well, I kind of am to a degree, if I'm being honest, because you shouldn't get to that size
for your own sake. You're not
as a human mammal, like
fat shaming in that context, like, you know, saying negative things about people who are severely overweight is on the line. It's on the side of you're saying that because you know that they would be healthier and live longer if they weren't like that.
Yeah, but even then, even on that kind of things, I'm always, particularly as I get older, I'm more on the kind of fence of like, as long as it's not infringing on me, I don't really care. If you want to be 35 stone and eat Domino's and donuts for the rest of your life, and
more power to you.
You go do whatever you want, as long as it doesn't infringe on me or anyone else. If at the point that you start saying, this isn't fair, the door's not wide enough, then it's a problem, because it's like, no, you need to have a look inwards here, because it's not everyone else's problem.
Who's paying for the door?
It's your problem at that point. If you want to be that size, that's fine. In the same way that if you're a strong man and you can't fit on a plane, you can't then moan about it. You buy two seats. You've built that muscle. You knew you were massive.
True.
You can't then complain that it's the same thing. Or it's like, oh, they can't find any clothes that fit. It's like, yeah, because you're Brian Shaw, like, you know, you're 6'8" and 400 pounds, of course. Yeah. That's the price that you pay, right? So,
what would you say you've learned about yourself in this prep period? Key takeaways.
I think I've been one of the things that I've been impressed by myself is I'd underestimated how hard prep is. So I think to any bodybuilder that goes through prep and gets on stage, you know, I always kind of thought, oh, they've done all right there.
Yeah.
But I've got a newfound respect for people.
Yeah.
And you know, there's the people that have actually walked the walk. So I know for me, when I go into coaching, if I'm then coaching someone that is prepping, I'll know exactly what they're going through now, and I wouldn't have done before. I'd have been like, "Oh, I know you're tired and whatever," but it's like, no, you don't. Like, this is really into the ground. It genuinely feels like you're dying sometimes, and your body's almost, as far as your body's concerned, you are like you're running on such low food and whatever, and you get massive brain fog, and you know, just energy to do anything is such a premium. But I think it's like, one of the things I like in a way is that not everyone can do this. And there's part of me that's like, so the level of sort of tenacity I actually have is, I've kind of even surprised myself a little bit.
To go through with it. Because
I'm like, even when everything is telling you to stop, the passion and the drive is going,
keep fucking going.
And you almost smile at it. And I've had it a couple of times. I think it's basically like, I know runners get it. They call it like a runner's high. I don't know if you've ever come across it.
I don't know if you've ever run before.
I have, but I've never experienced it while running.
I will say, so obviously in for me personally, with my recent switch up in training, I've been doing a lot more running compared to what I used to do. And I know exactly what. Yeah. Well, I mean, I would run around chasing a ball rather than
like a dog.
Like a dog. Yeah, playing fetch, rather than just running for the sake of running. Yeah. But now running, it's not for the sake of running. It's with training intent. Yeah. But I do understand it now. I feel like I do get it. Yeah. Because you almost go through this stage of like, I mean, this Friday just gone, me and Wolfie, on our plan, it was 8x800 metre intervals.
Was this with Marshy?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched the.
That
you were punctual for.
I'm always punctual.
Yeah.
Not.
You're like Gandalf. Yeah. You arrive exactly when you want to.
Exactly. But 8x800 metres, 90-second intervals. Aiming for 20 seconds. On plan, it was 20 seconds-ish faster than average 5k pace. So my average 5k pace from my test week was 4:48 per k.
Nice. That's
so good. I got 24-minute 5k, which
nice.
I feel like even now I could like smash that.
Nice.
Like genuinely, I already feel like cardio wise, running wise, I could definitely go faster than that.
It's but the power of the Weetabix.
Yeah, it's the Weetabix minis, man. But
sponsor incoming.
So I worked out, for me to hit that 20 second fast and 4:48 pace, so 4:28 pace, I'd have to be doing an 800 meters in 3 minutes 34. So 2 laps in just over 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
I did my first one and I did like 3:17, something like that. So I was way ahead of pace and I knew it by the time I'd finished it. But then I think leg 2, 3, 4, I was still a little bit quicker. 5, I was about bang on, and then 6 and 7 were tough.
Yeah.
6
That's where you have to dig.
Yeah, 6 and 7, I started to get like, I felt like I'd pulled my lat, like just running. Just running and like just being stiff, or maybe I was running a bit too stiff like this. But then on my last one, I did like 3:23, which was almost as quick as the first one that I did.
Yeah.
Just because I locked in, I was counting. I used to do this thing when I was a kid where I would count odd numbers on my right foot and even numbers on my left foot.
Right.
So I'd just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then start again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and just that monotonous repeat of counting to 6 in my head with every step. It just worked.
Yeah.
And by the time I'd finished it, even though I did one of them in like 4 minutes. I think it was the 7th one I'd done in 4 minutes. So obviously I took the pace off, which meant I could go a bit faster on the last one.
Yeah.
But just getting through that fucking hole that you're in. The wall where your legs are heavy, your back's hurting, you're sweating, sweaty salt dripping in your eye, your mouth's dry. Being able to continue going when you feel like that. I mean, I'm only doing 8 fucking times 2 laps of a running track. Like, there's people out there who do magnitudes more difficult things, but I think it's the process of teaching yourself how you can actually be okay and how you can get through it, and training your mind to be uncomfortable.
I think people underestimate how resilient and how capable the human body is a lot of the time.
Definitely, yeah. The mind gives up far.
Yeah, and I think that's the bit where you need to kind of train. And it's funny because you're on about running, like, because so Jen's running a marathon.
Wow.
So she basically it's in April. She's training for it.
Oh wow, nice.
So she's got a 10K in September and then a half marathon in like November. She's properly calculated it, timed it out. But
is she using any sort of training?
She's just started. She was using runners. She's just literally started. Say, yeah. She was using Natasha Ocean's program, who's like a runner stroke weightlifter.
Okay.
Before, and then she's switched up to this runner. She had her eyes on it for a little bit, but she's smashing it. She's getting up early. She's going for like runs, and this is a completely new style of training because I've never really looked into that thing. So you have like your progression runs, your tempo runs, your easy runs, your distance runs, and it's all like
threshold.
And it's exactly, and it's basically because Jen used to be really into the gym. Then when we had Hallie, and you fall out of the thing, and then you obviously. I can't relate fully, obviously not being a woman that's given birth, but you lose kind of that sense of identity, and obviously your figure changes and you become unhappy with yourself, particularly if you had a nice physique before. It's a bigger thing, and tried to go back to the gym, and then when we had Ben, sort of similar things, and she just lost that motivation. And then she found running basically, and she was into running a little bit before, but really kind of locked in. And she's actually, so we before we had Hallie, we unfortunately lost the baby before, and there's a charity called Tommy's who work with like miscarriage awareness and those kind of things, and she actually managed to get a charity place for Manchester Marathon under that charity.
I feel like I didn't know that.
I mean, it's not the sort of thing you kind of broadcast, I suppose. Like,
I'm sorry to hear about that.
I suppose it's a bit heavy for the podcast, isn't it? But
it's part of the story, though.
Yeah, it is. It is part of the story, and again, it's one of these things where it's like you go back and I wish that didn't happen. But given the timing, if that hadn't happened, Hallie wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So it messes with your head a little bit with those kind of things. It's like to wish one thing change, you were altering another. It's that butterfly effect again. Yeah. But so she's running for Tommy's
for that charity.
Did
they help her off the back of that miscarriage, or was it? Is it just somebody she was aware of?
I think it's there were a couple of charities. I think, to be honest, obviously at that time, I know there was some that did help. But Jen's one of these people that kind of closes up quite a lot. Okay. So there were certain things that she kept to herself and those kind of things. So, it's like you don't always get all the information. But I think to some degree it will have helped. But I think also she's acutely aware of how much they do help people. And she knows what she felt she's like.
Doing it for a good cause.
So, yeah, exactly. So she's got to raise, I think it's like...
There's few better ways to drive yourself through some sort of training regime than... doing it for a reason,
a good purpose.
A good purpose. When you're in that that hole and you need something to dig you out, it's offer you a hand up out of the hole.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You go to some shit places,
absolutely.
You can go to some shit places, or for example, when I was doing my track thing the other day, when I was on that 7th lap or 6th lap, and I was thinking, I just need to stop here. Like, my knee hurts, my foot hurts, my legs are tired. I've got 25 seconds till I need to go again. Apparently, I could just not go and then go after another minute and a half. But I thought about this guy that I know. He's called Stephen Alexi. So he has his own podcast. He does these like events as well, where he gets he's done them with Sylvester Stallone, Arnie.
Nice.
He's got one coming up with Mike Tyson soon. We shot some podcasts for him.
Nice.
And recently, like a week or so ago, he did 10 of each of the National Three Peaks, up, down, 10 times each one.
That's insane.
In something like, it was less than 10 days he did it in.
Wow.
And I watched all his stuff on Instagram, and I remember when I was doing that run, and I was thinking, well, Steve
would have given
fucking gone up and down Ben Nevis 10 times. and sleeping in a tent surrounded by fucking sheep and getting rained on. So like,
you need
whatever you need to go to in your mind to like pull yourself
you need that. There's always something, and like
sorry, I'm getting sort of sidetracked here thinking about this, but one thing I spoke about with Marcus when we sort of spoke something similar to this, like where does your mind go in that respect? Like in his head, he would go to the place of, you're the fucking best. Nobody's like you. Nobody like. And I said to him, like, for me, I've found it personally difficult to go to that positive place of saying, like, you are the fucking best. You've got this. I seem to respond better through sort of like the negative self-talk, the darker stuff. Like, I mean, even today when I was training with Tom, there was a period we did like one of those 4-round kind of high rocks sessions where you've got 4 exercises.
Yeah.
Like we did that session, you do all 4 and then you do it again.
Yeah.
And I was like halfway around like the 2nd or 3rd round and I was struggling and I was thinking, you fucking piece of shit. Like,
like
I was literally
self-abuse.
Yeah, so I went out for some beers on Saturday, ended up having too much to drink, sacked the gym off on Sunday. Right. So in my head, that's where I went to. How shit I felt about myself on the Sunday. Like I'd felt like I just let myself down. I felt like I let the team down. Yeah. And I was there in my head today just saying, you deserve to feel like this. Like,
oh right, yeah.
That's sort of where I went.
It's like
to
you
drive
looking down on you, going.
Yeah. That's what was driving me through it today.
Yeah.
Rather than being like you positive, you've trained harder than anybody else. You're fitter than anybody else. You're the best. Like, where does your head go to when you? I mean, for you, it's probably the cardio that's like the stepper. Is that where you feel that the most at the moment?
I think maybe, yeah. I mean, I have it. I mean, if you ever watch me train, like, I'll do my last rep is always like I've done my last rep, and depending on what I'm on, like I'll go then and do like the partials, and I'll go until like
there's nothing there.
Cue Ian Beale meme, but like I've got nothing left. Like my arms just literally won't move, like, yeah. And then I'll rack it up, and then I'll but on the cardio, like I know I've got time to do,
yeah.
And there's certain times where I've split my cardio up when I'm thinking I could do it, but I'm gonna half-arse this. So I've done 15 minutes, and then I've done 15 minutes later. I've always done it,
yeah.
But I've done it later because I'd be able to give it a better effort later on.
I suppose it is different, isn't it, bodybuilding? Because even though it is an endurance thing in some sort of weird variation, the endurance is over a prolonged kind of period of time, months and weeks and whatever.
But I think you have it on like heavy lifts, right? Or on like leg lifts, for example, like squats. And you have that. It's like I could do another rep. It hurts and whatever. There's a couple of things like one of the sort of things that I like that I sent you the other day actually is like Jordan Peters, and he sort of says like he basically says the decision I'm making in the next 30 seconds is just not to miss.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do with bodybuilding. It's about how you are as a person. And it's like I am not going to miss. And it's almost like this is a really weird kind of I laugh a little bit when it starts to get hard. Almost outwardly. Like so when I'm on the stepper, which is where I do most of them, and my body's starting to you go through that phase where your body's like stop.
Yeah,
stop.
This is horrible.
And
why are you doing this to me?
Yeah. It's like, you need to stop. You're tired. This hurts. And honestly, I'll just start like almost laughing. I'll be just like, absolutely no fucking way. Like, and it's like almost, yeah. The best I could relate it to. This is a bit of a throwback reference, but do you remember Dragon Ball Z?
I do. Yeah, I never really watched it though.
Well, there's a guy in that, like a character in that called Vegeta, who
yeah.
always pushes himself harder than everybody else,
right?
And he like whenever like he's finding something hard, he just kind of laughs and pushes even harder. And it's almost like that mentality in a bit of a weird way. So like when I'm on the stepper and I'm thinking I've got 10 minutes to go and my body's like packing in, and I'm just like, I ain't stopping. And I'm like, literally, it'd be like, unless I'm in a pile on the floor, I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's how it is. And that's kind of the main driving force. I would say there's another element added to this now, and it's going to sound maybe a little bit childish. I don't know. I don't want to let Dambo down.
No, I don't think that's childish.
Because, and it's part of the reason why I picked him, because he's kind of invested in me.
Yeah.
For me to message him and say, yeah, I didn't do my cardio because I was a bit tired. Absolutely, there's no fucking chance on this earth is that happening. That's
what I had to do on Sunday.
Yeah,
with the lads. And I messaged him and I said, I'm sorry, boys, I've let you down. It's shit from me. I will be better.
Yeah,
and I felt it was my own fault, but I felt fucking horrible for it, and it was almost like I needed to feel that in a weird way.
I think you have to have that at least some point in your life.
Yeah,
and I've definitely had that before. I think everyone has that's going to be successful. You need to understand that, but I think also like it's levels to it, and it's like for me, going on the stage, like this is the only time there'll be like zero pressure really, because it's my first show. I've never done it before. My expectation, my goal was literally do the prep, get on the stage. I can wholeheartedly say when I get on that stage, I have done on Dambo's checking thing. It says accuracy to plan, and it says 100, and that is a genuine 100.
Yeah.
Every gram of food, every step, every bit of cardio, every weight lifted has been exactly what he told me to do. So I couldn't do anything more. I genuinely couldn't do anything more. No. And it's funny because when I went to my brother's and they've got like a little table of like, a little bowl with like jelly babies or Galaxy caramel in, or do you know, like little bits that people can and whatever. And I was just like, oh, those look so good, because when you're on prep, everything smells amazing. It's ridiculous. And Ben's missus was like, oh, just have one. And I was like, nope. And she was like, no, you can just have one. And chances are one would make absolutely fuck all difference. But in my head, then I hadn't been 100% to the plan.
Yeah.
It'd be 99.99999. But in my head, if I went on the stage and lost, and there was that thing that said, you had a wine gum, it sounds dumb, because obviously it's not going to make a difference. But in my head, I can honestly say at this time, I've ticked every single box exactly as I was told to do. And I've been completely honest with Dambo, like all the way through, so because it's a partnership. It's not a me and coach, it's an us thing. And usually when I'm writing to him and we're WhatsApping, you know, a lot, and at the minute, he's in touch every day.
What do we need to do? It's a we thing.
It's always like, I always write it like, hopefully we can bring a good package, or hopefully we've done enough, or hopefully it's always we, because it is we.
Yeah.
It's a team effort. I'm the dope idiot that stands on stage in his pants like doing the poses.
Yeah.
But it's a team effort.
You've both got there together, yeah.
And I think this is where a lot of people go wrong with coaching, and you see it in the pros all the time. It takes time for the relationship. It does sometimes, it clicks straight away, and I do genuinely think for us it's clicked straight away. And I have no intention of, like, as long as he'll have me, like I have no intention of ever leaving.
Yeah.
But sometimes you get like an athlete that works with a coach, and then the peak's maybe slightly off for the show. They don't quite come in right, and then they'll go, all right, that coach is shit, I'm getting another one.
Yeah, I've heard that before. And like, you should really stick with your coach, especially in bodybuilding.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like, again, it's like if I'm
obviously it might be someone who's really got justified reasons for switching.
Yeah, exactly. But, like if, for example, with Dambo, we did like six.
Dan even spoke about it on this podcast about it as well. People switching.
It
takes time to learn everyone's bodies.
It does. You know,
different.
If we were 5, 6, 7 shows deep, and I'm not saying that I'd not won, but if every time the peak was wrong, then I'd start to question, like, we're missing something. Yeah. But still, I wouldn't jump ship. I'd be saying way before that, I'd be like, what do we need to do?
Yeah,
something, we're missing something.
Yeah,
because it is that partnership. you know, if we're then still going and it's not working, then there's different questions to be asked. But with coaches and athletes at the pro level, sometimes they just jump ship after like one or even two shows that weren't quite right, and then they have to move to another coach, and then start again. With all the data, and it's just it seems strange to me, like particularly in the upper echelons of the sport, because those coaches have all got like really good athletes under them. They've obviously done something right. Yeah, exactly. So I find it quite interesting. But I think one of the things that you have to have with your coach is you have to have like a level of respect. You have to be honest. And I don't understand people that will have a coach and then lie about it in terms of what they're doing. It's like, oh, I ate all the food you said, but this has gone wrong, because then they're like, they're
questioning their methods if it's actually
working. If it was like a few low carb days in a row, and I chucked in a shitload of carbs and said to Dambo, I've had low carbs, and my body doesn't look that way, he's going to be thinking something's not right. What's going on? Yeah,
or he's just going to be able to see right through you.
Or that, probably that one.
Not actually, but
initially it could have done. But it's, you know, if I'm not being 100% honest, then he can't help me. Because you know, if I'm having too much salt or too little salt, or you know, not enough water, and I'm saying I am, he's thinking, all right, I need to up the water then, or I need to do this because it's not doing this, and without that honest feedback, it's just not going to work.
Yeah. How committed are you to it?
But that's also very much entered my mind recently. It's like I'm not letting Dambo down. I am not writing that message to him saying I've half hours my cardio, or you know. And it sounds so funny, like on the plan, like he wants it to be at a specific beats per minute, like the cardio.
Yeah.
And I'll basically start the cardio, and I won't start the time until it's at that threshold or above. Right. So if I'm like at 100, let's say, it needs to be 120, for example, I will go until it gets to 120 and go, right, now we start, and we'll do my time from here, because that's what it says on the plan.
Yeah.
And you know, it's that's kind of, I think, how you need to be, if you you know, and that's kind of in answer to your question earlier. That's how a pro would be.
Yeah.
So whether I can become a pro one day or not, it makes no difference, because I enjoy doing it. Yeah. I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'll hit all the boxes. I will practice my posing going forward, obviously into off season. I will do the training off season, the eating. I'll then diet back down. I'll get on stage again. I'll make the changes, and I'll just keep doing that. And if one day that ends up in a pro card, or doesn't end up in a pro card, the journey will have been exactly the same.
I think that's a good message. I'm gonna sort of wind things down now.
Yeah, we've spoke for a while, haven't we?
Going for a while. But obviously, you know, you have got your show coming up in a few weeks. Like you say, potential for coaching in the future.
Yeah.
Obviously spoke about the kind of trials and tribulations through your life and going through your own personal battles to get to where you are today, to build that sort of mindset that I feel like you've conveyed really well, actually, through this.
I hope so. That's good.
Personally, I think so anyway. But obviously along the way you've had many lessons to be learned. So as I finish all of these episodes, I'll ask you, what's been your biggest learning curve?
Well, what I would say is, can I give you one of my favourite quotes? Because I think it's a good one.
Please.
The quote is, "It's never too late to become what you could have been." And I think that is one of the things that I really have stuck by. Because, you know, if you want something, there's a lot of stigma on it. It's like, am I too old to do this? Or, I don't mean with me personally, but it's like, it's this constant questioning of failure.
Self-doubt.
And I just think that little phrase of, it's never too late to become what you could have been, is a really good thing to keep in mind always. Because people, you know, are going about the day to day, and it's like, just stop and take a minute now, and whatever you want to get, go get it. It's not too late.
Mate, that's such a good quote. That's such a good quote. I feel like that's a perfect place to end.
Cool.
Matt, good luck for the show. We'll try to get this one out before you go on stage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, people, keep your eyes peeled for this man on stage in his budgies.
In his tiny pants.
In his tiny pants.
Yeah,
all right,
we'll see what happens.
Appreciate you, mate.
Thanks so much.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, me too.